Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Who and How Club. It's your boy Arys checking in. I should say welcome back, actually, because this is our return after being off for about a month and a couple weeks. We finally reached our milestone with episode 50. So we figured we would take a little break and recollect ourselves, get our minds right, plot and plan for the next 50. Even though the Who and How Club is episodic, I figured that we would look at it as seasons when it comes to reaching every 50th episode, because every 50 episode could represent sort of like a transitional stage for the show. I do want to give you a heads up before I start that this is the third time I am recording this episode. So if my energy is a bit low or off, I apologize. I gave all of my energy to the first two episodes or the first two recordings of this, because I just ran into some technical difficulties as usual. And I had to re-record because the sound was not sounding the way that I wanted it to. And I wanted this return episode to be as crisp as possible for all of you returning listeners and supporters, but also for the new listeners. So bear with me, okay? But I am excited to be back, even if it sounds like I'm not. My energy is pretty high. Like I mentioned, this is episode 51, season 2 of the podcast, The Who and How Club. I am the creator, producer, and host of this not only show, but the concept, this idea. You know, we call it the Who and How because I believe that we are the who's and how's of this world. And here is where I focus on who you are as an individual and how you became the who that you are. So the who's and how's of our lives, our experiences, our perspectives, our failures, our successes, our triumphs, our glories, and also our rock bottoms and our traumas and all of that jazz. So if you're tuning in for the first time, understand that you are the Who and How Club, I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and how's of this world. So we are the Who and How Club. Without you, without me, there is no we. So we're in this together. I do believe that we're here to learn from one another. Our experiences, you know what I mean? The things that we're going through. We share something, and it's a thing called life. We're all living it just in our own little unique way. And a lot of the things that we go through we could probably draw reference from or draw inspiration from, but also relate to, you know what I mean? But how would we know that we're going through, how could we ever know that we're going through similar things in this life that we're all living if we don't speak with one another? So I created this platform for us to express ourselves and to share information about our lives with one another so that we could gain some knowledge, or that the listeners can hear this information and take away from it, whether it prevents them from making a similar, let's say, mistake, or, you know, just gaining knowledge or finding a community that they could actually relate to. So that's why I created this platform. Now, this platform is not only a podcast. You know, the Who and How Club is also an event series, something that I put together, something called Rampage that we curated last year, and we had to put on hold, of course, due to COVID. But it's also a blog. It's a movement. You know, we are the who's and how's, like I mentioned, and as exclusive as this club presents itself to be, it's very inclusive. And I don't just want to have, you know, famous people or people who have created something or of some sort of prominent, you know, like, I want everyday people on this show just to have a conversation, because we all have voices, we all have hearts and brains, and we all have perspectives on life and what we're all going through individually and as a collective. So let's talk. That's why I created this platform. All right. If you are a returning listener, you'll also notice that the intro is different now. So we have a new intro. And I do want to send a special shout out to everybody who had a hand in creating or being a part of this intro and this new intro being created. I feel like this intro really represents what the show represents. You know, who are you? We usually start off with that question. Who are you? And you know, that question is a very hard question to answer, because a lot of us don't know who we are, or we define ourselves in many different ways, whether it's by our names or, you know, what we do. And I really want to explore that on this show. That's why I created it, because I'm in this self-discovery mode in my life. Who am I? What is my purpose? And how do I define who I am? Do I define myself based off of what other people define me as, or how they view me? Those are questions that we try to find answers to, and we dig deep. A lot of people are afraid to go that deep, but on this show, our focus is depth. And if you don't know how to go deep, I'll definitely show you how, and we'll support each other through that. So this new intro, you can hear the questions through many individuals from all different backgrounds, male, female, different ethnicities, just who are you? Who are you? Who are you? That's the question of the day. And I thought that it would be wise to start this new transition in the podcast with some new energy. I do want to shout out my mother, because she's the angelic voice on the first 50 episodes in that intro, where she introduces me as your host. So Mom, shout out to you. It was great having you on the first 50. Now we're transitioning into a new 50. And I think every 50 we're going to do something like that, where we sort of transition. We spread our wings and change the colors and patterns on our butterfly wings. And we transition into some new stages of the show and this concept on how we conduct our interviews, how we intro the show and outro the show, the topics that we speak about. But it's always going to have its foundation, which is who are you, the who's and hows. All right. So if you're a new listener, shout out to you, because you're getting this for the first time. And this is how you're entering this concept with us. But for the returning listeners, if you were so used to the old intro, don't hate me. I know some of us don't like change, but we got to transition. All right. Ma, love you. Thank you again. Now, I'm really happy to be back. As most of you know, this show is like therapy for me. Speaking of therapy, I have been partaking in therapy. I have a psychologist now, and this is something that I've shut down my entire life. I've gone through many things, many challenges. In retrospect, maybe I should have done therapy back then. Maybe my mindset, how I react to things might be a bit different today at age 32, or stage 32 is what I like to say. Either way, everything happens for a reason, and the universe provided an opportunity, for me to take therapy again. And I said, all right, let me do it. Let me try this time. Let me jump at it. So I want to shout out my psychologist. I've had 2 1-hour assessments with her and 3 official sessions with her. We meet every Wednesday, 2 p.m. We're not meeting this week, but we're back on sessions for next week. And it did take me a while to find her. So, I am not the poster child for jumping into therapy. I'm just learning this myself, learning about the ins and outs of who I am and talking to a stranger and getting comfortable with that. So I'm not like gung-ho or anything, or saying, yeah, you should do it. What I am trying to promote, though, is trying something new and pushing yourself to do something that maybe you've always wanted to do or has always presented itself to you, but you've always shut it down because of fear or worry or maybe some insecurities. I've put that aside, and I've decided to try something that I wanted to try, but always have been skeptical of even partaking in. Now, another thing you want to focus on is finding the right individual, because I had a couple assessments with some other practices, and I had to shut those down because my gut, when speaking with those individuals in those initial assessments, could feel that, they might trigger some additional anxieties that I don't have the capacity to sort of manage just on my own. When you're speaking with someone, there's an energy that you got to feel, especially in this capacity, in this realm, in this forum. It's not like just having guests on this show, because that's therapy for me as well. When I bring someone on this platform, we're learning from one another, and we're digging deep, and it's like an exchange of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But neither one of us are experts. When you're going to a psychologist, therapist, whatever, and they're the expert. They're there to listen. They're there to give you feedback. They are there to give you tools. You know what I mean? They're not an expert on you per se, but they have a title that they've earned, that they've gone to school for, and years and years of training and practice and all of that jazz. They are an expert in their right in that field. So it's a weird dynamic to get used to in the beginning, but if you have found someone that you can connect to on a deeper level, it makes the experience worthwhile. So I want to shout out my doctor, because I could tell, she's been extremely supportive of me, and she genuinely cares. And I could tell. I know when someone cares about me versus when they don't. I don't know if it's their mandate to not care, you know what I mean? But she does her own thing, and she has her own practice, and she just has, I don't know if she's like this with everybody else, but when it comes to me, I have easy access to her, and she responds, and she checks in, she follows up with me on things that I'm going through the week. I'll update her on things, and she's in my corner, and it's good to feel that. When I run into strangers on the streets, I'm a people person. Although I have my gripes and qualms with the individuals who exist on this planet, who have sort of created a detrimental environment for us to live in with their structures and their systemic, barriers, and they refuse to do nothing about it, cutting down trees, all of that stuff. I have issues with those individuals, but outside of that, I love people, and I love being alive. I love living here, even though it gets challenging at times. But I love to talk to strangers and just to speak to, because I know it's going to be an opportunity of an exchange of knowledge and experience. It's like feeding the brain, and a lot of us are afraid of one another. We don't speak to one another or speak with each other enough. I think there's a difference between speaking to someone and speaking with someone. And the goal here on this show is to speak with someone. And when I speak with my psychologist, her and I are speaking with each other. And we dive deep. So shout out to her. I've been sharing my journey to therapy on my Instagram at only1arys, ONLY, the number 1, and then my first name, ARYS. If you look in my story highlights titled Soul, you will see my post about my journey to therapy and some tools and some knowledge sharing there that I've provided to my followers that you could use as well. But as of today, on Tuesday, June 8th, I'm going to create its own highlight on my page. So you'll see the therapy highlights so that you can have access to all the therapy related posts that I've shared and will be sharing with all of you. So look out for that today on my page. Speaking of social media, don't forget to follow the Who and How Club at Who How Club on all social media platforms. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever. The website's whohowclub.com. So get familiar with this concept and the website. Going to the website will definitely help you get familiar with what this show represents. There's also a Be a Guest form and tab on the website. So if you know someone that would fit with this mold and this show would be great for them, get them to fill out the form, and they'll get to share pieces of themselves with me, and I'll get to see, I'll get to follow up and touch base and possibly schedule an interview and an episode for that individual. Or if you yourself, like I said, I'm looking to speak with everyday people. We all have lives, we all have stories, we all have perspectives, and this is the platform to share it openly. It doesn't matter if you failed at something, if you made mistakes, there's no judgment. Let's just talk. Let's just speak and share with one another. I have failed. I have felt like I have failed. I've lost things, that I didn't want to lose, or lost at something, Sometimes we got to take our L's, but it's what we learn from those L's is what matters, and we have to continue to grow. And that's what the show also represents. You can't be the who's and how's of this world without those imperfections. No one is perfect. So yeah. Since we've been off for about a month and a week or so, we were nominated for the Quill Podcast Awards, and they haven't announced the winners yet, but we've been nominated for Best Branded Podcast. Now, can I get some hand claps for that, please? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. That's worth clapping for. We should have clapped for the welcome back, but I want to clap for that nomination. Now, there have been many accomplishments in such a short period of time. Everyone's like, oh my God, 50 episodes. Now, in retrospect, we've worked really hard to get to these 50 episodes. Now we're at 51, of course. But in such a short period of time, we've had such accomplishments and such wins. And I'm grateful for all of you who continue to support this movement, because without you, it wouldn't happen. This is all just an idea that I brought to life. So thank you to all of you for nominating us for the Quill Podcast Awards. We're nominated for the Best Branded Podcast. So we'll see how that turns out. Even if we do not win, not to speak negatively, but let's just say we don't win, being nominated in itself is a win. So there's some gratitude there. We're still young and we got a lot of time to go. There's no rush. We've been selected for TO Web Fest. We've gotten sponsorship. PodCamp Toronto 2020, the same conference that sort of molded my thinking and awareness in podcasting, had me present in the same room that I was soaking energy up and information from the big dogs a year later. And I got to present to a group of people at 2020's conference, So those are wins that are under our belt. And I don't take any of it for granted. It's been challenging and we've been working hard. You know what I'm saying? So, it doesn't come easy, but the hard work pays off when you see things like being nominated for a podcast award for being, for Best Branded. I knew someone would recognize us being, I love my branding. I love the branding of the show. So I'm proud of that. You know what I'm saying? But again, if we don't win, that's cool. A nomination is a win because it's an acknowledgement of existing. And we're a part of this podcast community now. Speaking of the podcast and the show, you could find us anywhere. Anywhere you can stream a podcast, you find us. Just look up the Who and How Club, and it's with an ampersand, okay? Not the Who and How Club. It's the Who and How. So put that symbol in the middle, and you'll find us with no problems on all streaming platforms. All right. Team talk. Okay, so I've put in a lot of work. I've been solo dolo for the longest while. Supporters aside, it's been a one-man band for the longest while, and recently I've acquired a team. I got a team on my side now. I'm not by myself anymore, and it's a team that's full of creative ideas, and I'm a part of this team. This team is a part of me, and we're building. We got ideas, and I can't wait to introduce them to this platform and to all of you. So keep a lookout for that. You pretty much know them, but we've solidified some things, and we're working towards building this brand and this concept. And me as an artist and a creator, it's just time to get busy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm feeling really inspired. We're going to have some new guests on the show. I can't wait to announce them. Today's the welcome back episode 51. Episode 52, I've been meaning to share this episode, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So I'm going to share this with you to get it out of the way. I had an interview with Rick Jordan some months back on the All In podcast, and I've been meaning to share this episode with all of you. So that's going to be episode 52. It was a really dope episode. Rick got me to dive deep and to be pretty vulnerable. It was cool to see two men in a vulnerable state. So this is an episode that I've been meaning to share with you. So that's going to be next week. And then we're going to be announcing some new fresh, oh my God, I just burped. Sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. Some new fresh meat that's going to be on the show. Oh my God, we got guests coming out of the wazoo. So it's going to be a busy other 50. It's going to be another busy 50. Let's roll with that, all right? I also have some guest spots coming up that I'm going to be announcing soon. I'll be a guest on some shows, so just keep a lookout for all of that. I've been checking in on family and doing Sunday dinner and stuff like that. So that's been good. That's been helping. That's a form of therapy. I want to end the episode off on this. And you know what? I'm beating myself up. Oh, you know what? There's another accomplishment that I want to share. Another win. Recently, I interviewed with a media company. We're not going to name the media company, but just the fact that I interviewed with them was a win as well. I didn't get the job. I didn't get the position as a podcast producer. It was sort of a weird interview. I've been in social services for so long. I'm used to interviewing for that kind of field. So, I was so nervous. The butterflies in my stomach. I wanted to throw up, but being able to meet with three heads, three individuals of a media company for a podcast producer opportunity. The fact that I was even acknowledged or interviewed with them was a win. And that's how you have to look at it. You know what I mean? Like, I tried something, I threw something against the wall, and I wanted to see if it would stick or not. And even if it didn't, that's fine. It has me thinking, it has the team and I thinking, like, do we want to work for another media company and produce shows under their banner? Or do we want to create our own network and create our own shows under our banner and make these companies come and pick us up and pay us for that? Or do we want to just get a salary? Like, how do we want this to turn out or to form into and to become? That experience has really made me just think about everything, you know what I mean? And how the vision of this concept. So I'm just happy that I got to experience that and to be acknowledged and recognized, you know what I mean? So what I'm sharing that to share this, that do not run away from trying something. Like I said, try. You miss out 100% when you don't try. And you don't lose when you don't try. In fact, when you don't try, you're going to feel like, damn, why didn't I try? You're going to live in regret. And you might resent yourself for not trying. But when you try and you get the result and you see, where that landed you, at least you'll feel, you'll get a bit more bravery in your blood and a bit more confidence when it comes to approaching things even more or trying new things even more. For the near future, you know what I mean? If there's someone that you want to reach out to clear the air with, reach out to them. If there's a job or a field that you've always wanted to be in, apply. Don't ask yourself, hey, am I qualified for this? Or am I, you never know if someone might look at your resume and see something that sticks out. Now, for this role, I was qualified, but I don't think the interview went too well. I was sweating bricks. I'm like, oh my God, or maybe it did go well and they found someone that maybe I wasn't what they were looking for. Who knows? We're not going to lose sleep thinking about that. We're just going to accept the outcome and understand that a win is a win, even when there might be a sort of losing aspect. You feel like you lost in the moment, but in retrospect, you won. You gained the attention of other beings. With what you created, with what was on your resume, with your talent, with your name, with your effort. So I'm going to close off on this quick message here, and then we're going to close. And I'm going to see you all. I'm going to talk to you all in a week. I'm really happy to be back. First off, one more thing. We do have a new intro. Like I mentioned, we have the outro. We have a new outro as well, new little sound effects. So, get ready to embrace that. But anyway, here's a little message. I want you to continue to have gratitude for everything that's going on in your life, everything that you have. Have gratitude for that and show it in some way, shape, or form. When you receive, give. All right? That's how you show gratitude, that you're not afraid to give. The more you give, the more you'll receive. But remember to say thank you. Thank you to the universe. Show gratitude. Show gratitude to the people who are doing things for you. Show gratitude for the things that you have. Take care of the things that you have or the people that you have in your life. All right. Second thing, stay busy. Keep your mind occupied. Keep your heart occupied. Stay stimulated. If you're depending on other people to keep you stimulated, you're going to lose. Keep yourself busy. Keep working. Keep creating. Keep trying and just keep movement. Be the definition of movement, okay? No drama. Remove drama. any drama in your life, you need to remove that. Remove it. If it's in the form of a person or a thing or a situation or an environment, remove it. And if you can't remove it right away, control how you react to it and manage your energy and your anxieties around that drama. Don't let that drama control you. You control that drama until you can completely remove yourself or remove it from you. Okay? Do what you can. Whatever's possible, whatever is in your capacity or capability, do it. But don't get mad at yourself for not being able to do what you cannot. Just do what you can. Work with what you have. All right? And work around that. Do what you can. Do your best and do what you can. Now, don't have any guilt for things that you cannot control. There's going to be so many things moving around you that you have no control over. We don't have control over people. We don't have control over their actions, their words, their mindsets, nothing like that. It's not your fault you didn't get that position per se. It's not, everything happens for a reason. And some of the things going on around us, we just cannot control. So do not feel guilty for those things that you cannot control. Adjust if you have to. Accept. Move forward. But don't feel any guilt. All right. Shout out to the people who were involved in the new intro. I'm going to shout you out today on IG. It is June 8th on a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to be back. I hope you're happy that we're back. Love you all. Once again, look us up, whowclub.com. Follow me, only one Arys, on all social media platforms. And you've been listening to the Who and How Club. I'm your boy, Arys Dejan. And we back. We back. We back.